Do a daily sigh of relief. Great big deep breath in, let it out. If you're an entrepreneur trying to keep up with what actually matters, this is for you. I go live every business day at 6 p.m. Eastern, and to the best of my abilities, I give you everything that I think matters in the entrepreneurial world across business, AI, markets, platforms, and policy, all in 15 minutes or less. If we haven't met, my name is Kasim. I'm a welfare baby turned self-made multimillionaire. I help entrepreneurs who already have a real business but want clear steps, better tools, and smarter ways to grow in a post-AI world. And all of my content is and always will be free. My goal in life is to help you achieve your definition of freedom. You can get the Daily Sigh delivered to your inbox directly by going to dailysigh.ai. Let's dive in. Story number one comes from Inc. magazine, and this is really interesting, very exciting. I'd be interested, hit me in the comments if you've already pre-ordered a Tesla bot, because Elon Musk just announced that Tesla models are being down prioritized in order to build robots. Tesla is discontinuing 2 factory models at its Fremont factory to repurpose space for producing 1 million Optimus 3 robots annually. My question is, what happened to Optimus 1 and 2? Why are we starting with number 3, Elon? What are you hiding from us? What did you produce that's probably going to kill us all? Where are these robots? The fact that they're going to produce 1 million robots annually, starting ostensibly this year, I think is pretty extraordinary. I have some friends who claim to have these on pre-order. I'd be interested in if anybody on the live is among that number. Um, and what do you think you're going to do with them? I'm always of the opinion that anytime new technology like this drops, you should always get iteration 2 or 3, never iteration 1, because you're going to just pay for all the R&D costs. This shows, especially from somebody like Elon, who I think is brilliant and has an extraordinary amount of foresight, he's betting on robots over cars, um, which is interesting because the Tesla car is a proven commodity. This also signals something for business owners from a labor perspective. The timeline for physical mass automation is accelerating significantly. So if you build, if you sell, if you create, the interesting thing about robots, I listen to Peter Diamandis a lot. If you're not listening to his podcast, Moonshot, it's extraordinary. But they talk about mass deflationary events all the time. It's probably one of the 3 most traveled topics. And robotics is one of the core drivers of deflation, which would be really good from a consumer's perspective, but not so good from a business owner's perspective. So does the thing that you do, does it get impacted by deflation? And these Tesla bots are going to be one of the things that drives that really significantly, which makes sense if you think about it. If you had an employee who didn't eat, didn't sleep, didn't pee, didn't nap, didn't complain, didn't need health insurance, you'd be able to produce a whole lot more, and that would put a lot of downward pressure on whatever industry you happen to be in. So that'll be really interesting to see. From the Morning Brew, Amazon lays off 16,000 to fuel AI spending. Amazon is cutting 10% of its white-collar workforce to reduce bureaucracy, so it says, and free up funds for $125 billion in capital expenditures. CEO Andy Jassy previously noted that AI adoption will gradually reduce corporate headcount. What I like about Andy is he's at least honest. So many of these layoffs that are happening, people keep saying like, oh, it's not AI, it's not AI, it's not AI. And by the way, AI is replacing you as we let you out. I'd prefer somebody to be really honest and say, no, we're actually using AI in this particular instance. This is highlighting what we're calling the great flattening, where tech giants are aggressively cutting middle management in favor of automation. What's interesting about this is I had an article that I referenced in yesterday's Daily Sigh. 95% of businesses that have deployed AI have yet to see an ROI. 95% of businesses utilizing AI have yet to see an ROI. That's with a $1.1 trillion expected expenditure towards AI in the coming years. The 5% that are seeing the ROI are the large ones because they have the economies of scale in order to implement some of these applications. The thing that I'd recommend to small businesses is AI cannot be top down, it has to be bottom up. So if you're a small business right now and you're sitting around thinking about how to use AI, the way to do it isn't to be a fat cat up on the mezzanine pointing down at assembly line number 2 saying AI that whole thing. Instead, you take the person that's on the assembly line and you incentivize them to look at the tasks that they undergo on an individual level and decide which tasks can be supplemented and or replaced with AI. And that symbiotic relationship between you and whoever's actually doing the work is going to put you in a position of really scaling with some of these tools, I think. Story number 3. From the Morning Brew, Federal Reserve holds rates steady. This to me is surprising given what's happening with gold. If you've been paying attention, gold hit $5,500. It was half of that a year ago. I've never seen gold move to this degree in my lifetime. Um, the Fed is maintaining interest rates at 3.5 to 3.75%. That's interesting because with gold doing what it's doing, it is a remarkably strong signal that people are not really confident about the US dollar. So the expectation here is that they might actually start changing their tune a little bit, but we'll see. This is potentially good news in, I think, the e-commerce world. It means that we're not going to see huge liquidity fluctuations, which means that you can at least have something of a horizon in front of you that can be predictable, maybe. Next story, Meta and Microsoft ramp up AI capital expenditures. Meta's planned 2026 capital expenditures reaching up to 135 billion, while Microsoft's quarterly spending rose 66% to 37.5 billion. Both companies are, quote, all in on building the infrastructure for AI agents that, quote, really work. Agentic AI is going to be the thing that really changes all of our lives. So if you're not paying attention to the agentic world, it's extraordinary. The one that I think is the easiest to use for me has been Anthropic. It's the Claude bot, let's say. Claude released a workspace application you can download to your desktop, I think specifically for Apple users, and it'll actually do shit, y'all. It'll do the things that you ask it to do. It has access to the files on your computer. It's a really extraordinary tool. It's interesting because it doesn't always make it all the way, and yet I'd still encourage you to play with it on a daily basis because you want to get good at the muscle that is going to AI for things. It's my soft opinion. Some backup stories. Amazon abandons automated retail dream. This is an entrepreneur article that says Amazon is closing all 72 automated Go and Fresh stores. This proves that automated concepts fail without a scalable economic model. To be honest with you, I think they were just too early. I think that this is going to work on a long enough timeline. And like many, many things, they were, too quick to the trigger. They saw the future, but people might not necessarily be ready for it just yet. This reminds me of a story I read recently, and y'all may not know this because I didn't. Blockbuster was actually first to market with a streaming service. Blockbuster created Netflix before Netflix did. But they went to market and they went to market too early. They went to market when, the bandwidth from an internet perspective wasn't really there that could deliver HD films in a way that was reliable. People weren't acclimated to watching movies over the internet yet. And so they launched a streaming service fails, and they say, okay, I guess that was a bad idea. Well, being too early is a lot like being too late. So I think the lesson here for small businesses is keep your pressure. Keep the pressure. If you really believe in something, it's important to continue to press until you begin to see the yield from whatever market you happen to be moving to. A repeat story from yesterday, but one that I have a little bit more context on. Gary Vee is rebranding his agency specifically for enterprise customers. This is an entrepreneur article. The Sasha Group, which I think was named after his dad, is now called Chuck Media. And he's exclusively serving enterprise clients. Gary is moving entirely out of the SMB market, which, to be honest with you, I think tells you a lot about where he thinks the world is going and how valuable he thinks SMB clients are going to be. If you serve an SMB client base, I'd pay a lot of attention. I don't think that SMB clients aren't worth serving. I think that somebody like Gary Vee is looking for a quote unquote more scalable solution. And I don't think serving SMBs is going to be scalable. I don't think you're going to be able to have a product or a service that becomes one size fits all and you slap it across all SMBs. Instead, custom, bespoke services specifically for them. And if you're willing those out, you're going to make a ton of money. If you're not, you're going to die on the vine. News story directly from the SBA. SBA disaster loan rule has changed. There's a new rule to preempt local requirements that delay disaster loan proceeds. This matters because it ensures faster access to recovery capital for business owners. If you're anywhere where disaster loans are available and accessible, y'all, they're really worth looking at. Even if you're not, I'd look at the SBA lending because the SBA really has opened up a lot of possibilities for people that want to buy businesses. And if you're one of the 100 some odd thousand white collar workers that have been laid off recently, that's a really good place to go to replace a low six-figure job. Very last story, Airtable launches Super Agents. This is a standalone product that orchestrates specialized AI agents for complex research. If you haven't played with Airtable, it's one of my favorite tools in the whole wide world. It is a relational database that allows you to do an extraordinary amount of things with your data. And so I've used Airtable with 3 separate businesses as the business brain. I'd recommend playing with Airtable and, more importantly, playing with the super agent because it's awesome. I hope this was helpful to all of you that joined. Hi, Sonny, Matt, Gwen, Narita, Monopace, Philip, George, Yardina, Trev, Kevin. What's up, y'all? If I'm not saying your name, it's because you're on a platform that doesn't feed me your name. I'm in Restream. But if you're watching me on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, I guess we're calling it X now, aren't we? LinkedIn, Instagram, thank you so much for tuning in. I go live every single business day at 6 p.m. Eastern. To the best of my ability, I give you everything that you need to know on a daily basis from a business news perspective. If I've missed something, feel free to hit me up in the comments. Let me know what I missed. I'll do better next time. If you want the Daily Sigh delivered directly to your inbox, you can get it daily or weekly. You can go to dailysigh.ai. And that's it, y'all. You're all the way caught up. You know everything there is to know about the world. You have the information that you need in order to start making really strong decisions. The take-home message for today: play with Agentic AI. If you don't know which one to play with, go play with Claude. Download that little Claude bot to your desktop. Start asking it to do things that you might be doing for yourself and just see how extraordinary it is and how well it works.